In gastric juice, whatever the pepsinogens which are present, whatever the number of the pepsinogens which are present, among them, if one pepsinogen gets converted into active form of pepsin in the presence of HCl, then remaining pepsinogens gets converted into pepsin in the presence of the pepsin. For example, in gastric juice, if 100 pepsinogens if they are secreted, among them one pepsinogen, if it is converted into active form of pepsin in the presence of HCl, remaining 99 pepsinogens gets converted into pepsin in the presence of the pepsin. Means remaining 99 pepsinogens becomes a pepsin in the presence of pepsin, converted into pepsin in the presence of pepsin. Means for getting the conversion of this single pepsinogen into pepsin only HCl is required, but to convert the remaining pepsinogens into pepsin, this active pepsin acts as the catalyst for getting the conversion of the remaining pepsinogens into pepsin. Means this pepsin acts as the catalyst for getting the conversion of remaining 99 pepsinogens into pepsin. This process is said to be as the autocatalysis. This process is said to be as the autocatalysis. Autocatalysis is nothing but for getting the formation of pepsin from pepsinogens. If pepsin acts as the catalyst, then we can say that is the autocatalysis. At pH of 0.9 to 1.8, at pH of 0.9 to 1.8, this pepsin acts as the catalyst for getting the conversion of remaining pepsinogens into pepsin. Similarly, whatever the inactive form of prorenin which is present, that's also reacted with HCl and converted into the active form, that is the renin. Means prorenin is inactive form. This is the inactive form. Again, this is the active form. After getting the formation of the pepsin, pepsin starts digestion over the protein. Means this pepsin shows its effect over the proteins at a pH of 0.9 to 1.8 and finally convert them into the proteoses and peptones. Proteoses and peptones means in human, protein digestion begins in the stomach with the help of the pepsin. Carbohydrate digestion begins in the oral cavity with the help of the salivary amylase, but protein digestion begins in stomach with the pepsin. This pepsin converts the proteins into proteoses and peptones. Of this, proteoses are complex when compared to the peptone. For example, if in the protein 5 polypeptide chains are present, the center is the protein, these are the polypeptide chains, these are the polypeptide chain. If this pepsin broken, the bond which is present between these two polypeptide chains, then automatically these 3 polypeptide chains are separated from these rest of 2. In this case, this is said to be as the proteoses, this is said to be as the peptone. Means proteoses are more complex when compared to the peptones. Due to the protein digestion in stomach, with the help of the pepsin, finally proteoses and peptones are formed as the end products. Similarly, in infant gastric juice, whatever the prorenin which is present, that prorenin is reacted with the HCl and finally transformed into active form, that is the renin. This renin shows its effect over the milk protein, that is the casein. This is said to be as the milk protein. Renin shows its effect over the casein, that is the milk protein, in the presence of calcium plus 2 ion and convert it into the calcium paracaseinate. In the presence of the calcium plus 2 ion, renin which is present in the infant gastric juice means the children who may be feeds on mother milk, in such infants only, in stomach in the gastric juice this kind of the renin is present. That renin shows its effect over the milk protein, that is the casein, in the presence of the calcium plus 2 ion, finally convert it into the calcium paracaseinate. Calcium paracaseinate nothing but curdling of milk. Means whenever the milk gets coagulated, then that leads to the formation of the curd, that is nothing but calcium paracaseinate. This is nothing but curdling of milk, that is said to be as the calcium paracaseinate. Over that kind of the calcium paracaseinate, again pepsin shows its effect over that kind of the calcium paracaseinate. Pepsin shows its effect and finally converted them into the peptones. Definitely, whatever the prorenin which is present in the infant gastric juice, that will be converted into renin in the presence of HCl. That renin shows its effect over the milk protein, that is the casein, in the presence of calcium plus 2 ion. Finally, that will be converted into the calcium paracaseinate, that is the curdling of milk. Over that kind of the calcium paracaseinate, pepsin enzyme which is present, that shows its effect and finally convert them into the peptones. Again, what are the functions of HCl which may be present in the case of the stomach? Means HCl which is present in gastric juice of stomach perform 3 type of the functions. One is that it converts pepsinogen into pepsin At first it convert pepsinogen into pepsin and prorenin into renin. That is the first function. Second function of HCl which is present in the gastric juice is it provide optimum pH, that is 0.9 to 1.8 in stomach for more effective working of the pepsin over the proteins. In highly acidic medium, that is the 0.9 to 1.8 pH only, this pepsin or this renin is more inactive. They may be works on the respective proteins. So to provide that acidic medium, HCl must be required. Third, it kills microbes. Whatever the microbes which maybe gets escaped from salivary juice, whatever the microbes which may be escaped from oral cavity into the stomach, such microbes are gets more effectively killed by the HCl in the case of the stomach. Next, what are the functions of mucus? What are the functions of mucus? What are the functions of mucus which may be secreted in gastric juice? Means this mucus principally useful to prevent excoriation. Definitely it prevents excoriation. Means eradication of the inner layer of wall of stomach. Eradication of the inner layer of the stomach is said to be as the excoriation. So to protect the wall of the stomach from the effect of the HCl, to protect the wall of the stomach from the effect of digestive enzyme, this mucus must be take part. Means mucus which is secreted into the stomach through the gastric juice, that principally prevent the excoriation of the wall of the stomach. That is the first functioning. Second one is that is useful for the lubrication, for easy passage of the food material from the anterior to posterior also. That principally useful for getting the lubrication of food material, means for easy passing of the food material from anterior to posterior. That kind of the mucus is a lot useful here. This is the digestion of the food in the stomach. Again in the stomach, definitely proteins are gets digested partially but not completely. Proteins are partially gets digested in the case of the stomach. Means proteins in the presence of the pepsin are only gets converted into proteoses and peptone. Proteoses and peptones are not end products of digestion of the protein. After complete digestion of the proteins, amino acids have to be formed as the end product. So that only in the case of the stomach, proteins are gets digested partially only. This partially digested food which is present in the stomach is with highly acidic in nature. Such kind of the partially digested highly acidic natured food which is present in the stomach is said to be as the chyme. What is the chyme means? Partially digested food material which is with highly acidic in nature, which is present in the stomach, is said to be as the chyme. Again in the case of the chyme, what are the positions of various substances means? In the case of the chyme, proteins are in partially digested state, that is the proteases and peptones, they are in proteases or peptones form. Carbohydrates are in the form of the maltose sugars. Again, lipids in an unchanged fashion. Though it is believed this gastric lipase maybe begins lipids digestion, but negligible amount of the lipids maybe gets digested. So that only we can say lipids are in an unchanged condition in the case of the stomach. In chyme, proteins are in the form of the partially digested set, that is the proteases and peptones form. Carbohydrates are in maltose sugars, because in stomach though carbohydrate digestion is not gets occurs, but in the oral cavity with the help of the ptyalin 30% of the carbohydrates are gets digested into the maltose sugars. They as easily reaches into the stomach. So that only carbohydrates are in maltose sugar state, lipids are in an unchanged state. This state of the food material later gradually reaches into the duodenum for getting the further digestion. Means chyme is gradually moves towards the duodenum for getting the further digestion. Then what is the digestion of the food in the small intestine? Next to digestion in small intestine, how that kind of the food is gets digested in the small intestine means very slowly chyme gets reaches into the duodenum. Very slowly chyme reaches into the duodenum from the pyloric stomach. Very slowly. After entering the food into the duodenum, after entering the chyme into the duodenum, immediately from the pancreas, pancreatic juice which is rich with bicarbonate and water is releases to neutralize that kind of the chyme, to convert it into the alkaline, because all enzymes which are releases into the duodenum are more effective at pH of the 7.8, that is the alkaline. So that only to convert that acidic natured food into the alkaline, at first pancreatic juice is releases onto the food material. Pancreatic juice which is rich with bicarbonate and water is releases onto the food material. By that way acidic natured food is at first converted into alkaline in the duodenum. Means the first change in duodenum, at first chyme is mixed with pancreatic juice which is rich with water and bicarbonate. By that way that food is converted into alkaline food. Acidic natured food material such as the chyme, after enter into the duodenum, immediately mixed with pancreatic juice which is rich with water and bicarbonate. By that way that food is finally converted into the alkaline. Later pancreatic juice is secreted onto the alkaline food once again, which is with rich digestive enzymes. Firstly secreted pancreatic juice is only with water and bicarbonate. After converting that alkaline food, after converting acidic food or chyme into alkaline food, once again from the pancreas, this pancreatic juice gets releases, that is rich with digestive enzymes. Then what are the digestive enzymes which are present in the pancreatic juice? How they may be digest the proteins means, specifically in the case of the pancreatic juice, whatever the proteolytic enzymes which are present, that is the trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase. This trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidases are inactive form of enzymes which are present in the pancreatic juice. They are at first releases onto the alkaline food material in duodenum for completion of the protein digestion. So again, trypsinogen is inactive form. This trypsinogen is reacted with enterokinase, which is present in intestinal juice. Enterokinase is enzyme activator. This is commonly called as the enzyme activator. It principally reacted with the trypsinogen and finally convert the trypsinogen into trypsin. This is the active form. This is the active form. This is the inactive form. Inactive form of trypsinogen is reacted with the enterokinase, finally convert it into the trypsin. Again, if one trypsin gets formed, remaining all trypsinogens are gets converted into trypsin in the presence of the trypsin only. For example, in the pancreatic juice, 100 trypsinogens are present. Of them, one trypsinogen, if it is gets converted into trypsin in the presence of the enterokinase, then remaining 99 trypsinogens are gets converted into trypsin in the presence of the trypsin only. Means this is the one trypsinogen, remaining 99 trypsinogens which are present are converted into active form of trypsin in the presence of the trypsin. Means for only converting of single trypsinogen into trypsin, enterokinase is required. After getting the formation of the single trypsin, then that single trypsin acts as the catalyst for getting the conversion of the remaining 99 trypsinogens into trypsin. This is said to be as the autocatalysis. Autocatalysis. Pepsin is also acts as the autocatalyst at pH of 0.9 to 1.8. Again, trypsin acts as the autocatalyst at the pH of 7.8. At the pH of the 7.8, trypsin acts as the autocatalyst. At the pH of the 0.9 to 1.8, pepsin acts as the autocatalyst. Again, in this case, after getting the formation of the trypsin, this trypsin also convert chymotrypsinogen into chymotrypsin. Chymotrypsinogen is also gets converted into chymotrypsin in the presence of the trypsin. Means it activate inactive form of the chymotrypsinogen into active form of the chymotrypsin. Similarly, procarboxypeptidase, which is present in pancreatic juice, that's also converted into carboxypeptidase. Carboxypeptidase, this is the active form in the presence of the trypsin. This trypsin also convert inactive form of the chymotrypsinogen into chymotrypsin and the procarboxypeptidase into carboxypeptidase. This trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase and aminopeptidase of intestinal juice shows their effect over the proteins, proteases, peptones. In generally, in stomach, due to the effect of pepsin, proteins are gets partially digested into proteases and peptones. Then if any protein is gets more effectively escaped from the pepsin, if it is reaches as easily into the duodenum, such proteins which may be escaped from stomach in without getting digestion, such protein, proteases, peptones, over them all these proteolytic enzymes such as the trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, again aminopeptidase of intestinal juice. In intestinal juice, aminopeptidase is there. On the proteins, proteases, peptones, trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, these three are present in the pancreatic juice. Aminopeptidase is present in the intestinal juice. They shows their effect over this kind of the proteins, proteases, peptones. Finally converted them into dipeptides. Finally converted them into the dipeptides. Means in duodenum, due to the effect of the trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, aminopeptidase enzymes, finally proteins, proteases, peptones are broken down into dipeptides. Later, on the dipeptides, dipeptidase of intestinal juice, on this dipeptides, dipeptidase, this is the enzyme which is present in the intestinal juice, shows its effect over the dipeptides and finally converted them into amino acids. These are the end products of protein digestion. After getting the completion of the protein digestion, finally what are the end products which are formed? Means amino acid. In duodenum, with the help of the dipeptidase, that is the intestinal juice enzyme, that shows its effect over the dipeptide, finally convert them into amino acid. Means here very important NEET examination question is that what is the enzyme which begins the protein digestion, what is the enzyme which ends the protein digestion? Means protein digestion begins with the pepsin in stomach, protein digestion ends with the dipeptidase of intestinal juice in duodenum. In duodenum, with the help of the dipeptidase of intestinal juice, protein digestion gets completed. Next, carbohydrate digestion. అయిపోయిందా? How that kind of the carbohydrates are gets digested in the small intestine means in oral cavity with the help of the salivary amylase 30% of the carbohydrates are partially digested into the maltose sugars. They are as it easily reaches into the duodenum, means the carbohydrate digestion is not occurs in the stomach, as it easily carbohydrates in partially digested state reaches to the duodenum. In duodenum, this carbohydrates are at first reacted with pancreatic amylase which is present in the pancreatic juice is said to be as the pancreatic amylase. Finally converted this carbohydrates into disaccharides. What are the disaccharides? Sucrose, maltose, lactose are the disaccharides. In duodenum, pancreatic amylase which is present in pancreatic juice that shows its effect over the partially digested carbohydrates and finally converted them into broken down into the disaccharides. Again in intestinal juice, disaccharidases such as the sucrase, maltase, lactase are present. Definitely on the sucrose, sucrase, this is the disaccharidase enzyme. This is also called as the brush border enzyme. On the sucrose, sucrase shows its effect to finally convert it into the glucose plus fructose. This sucrose is finally gets digested into glucose and fructose. Again on lactose, lactase, this is also disaccharidase enzyme. This is also brush border enzyme. Finally convert that lactose into glucose plus galactose, glucose plus galactose, again maltose. On the maltose, maltase shows its effect and convert that maltose into glucose plus glucose. Means due to the digestion of the single maltose with the help of the maltase, two glucose molecules such as the monosaccharides are formed here. Means in the duodenum, with the help of the disaccharidases, sucrase is a disaccharidase, lactase is a disaccharidase, maltase is a disaccharidase. With the help of this disaccharidases such as the brush border enzymes, these are also called as the brush border enzymes, definitely carbohydrate digestion is gets completed. Means sucrose reacted with the sucrase and form the glucose fructose. Lactose is reacted with the lactase, finally converted into the glucose and galactose. Maltose is reacted with the maltase, finally converted into the glucose and glucose. Means what are the end products of carbohydrates? What are the end products which may be finally formed due to the completion of the carbohydrate digestion? Means glucose, fructose, galactose. Glucose, fructose, galactose like monosaccharides are finally formed as the end products due to the carbohydrate digestion. Again here also the important objective question is that where the carbohydrate digestion is begins in our body, where the carbohydrate digestion is gets completed means in oral cavity with the help of the salivary amylase, carbohydrate digestion is gets begin with the help of the disaccharidases such as the sucrase, lactase, maltase. Carbohydrate digestion is gets ends in duodenum. Again, what is the digestion of fat in small intestine? Next one is the digestion of fats, in small intestine. What is the digestive procedure of the fats in the small intestine means? At first, these fats are reacted with the boiled salts. Fats are reacted with the boiled salts. In boiled juice, bilirubin, biliverdin pigments are present. Sodium, potassium, glycolates and tarcolates salts are present. Boiled salts nothing but sodium, potassium, glycolate, sodium, potassium, tarcholate like salts are present. They are together called as the boiled salts. Definitely these boiled salts are reacted with the fats and finally converted into micelles. They are finally converted into micelles. These are also called as the emulsified fats. Emulsified fats nothing but conversion of the big sized fatty molecules into small sized fatty molecule with the help of the boiled salts is said to be as the emulsification. Conversion of the big sized fatty molecule into small sized fatty molecule in the presence of the boiled salts is said to be as the emulsification. In a such way, these fats are gets converted into small sized fatty molecules such as the micelles in the presence of the boiled salts, that is the emulsified fat. Over that emulsified fats, pancreatic lipase, this is also called as the steaopsin. This is also called as the steaopsin, shows its effect on emulsified fats. Pancreatic lipase or the steaopsin shows its effect and finally convert it into the di and monoglycerides. Di and diglycerides plus monoglycerides. Over that kind of the di and monoglycerides, over that kind of the di and monoglycerides, intestinal lipase shows its effect. Over that di and monoglyceride, intestinal lipase shows its effect and finally converted them into the fatty acids and glycerol. Definitely in the case of the fats digestion, steaopsin play a greater role. About 60% of the fats digestion is mainly due to the involvement of the steaopsin. That is the principle for getting the digestion of the fat. Means in the case of the human, in fats digestion, though it is believed in stomach fats digestion maybe begins with the gastric lipase, but that is negligible in amount. Most of the fats digestion is gets completed in the small intestine. Means in the case of the fats digestion, the important objective question is that fats digestion begins with the gastric lipase in stomach. Fats digestion is completed with intestinal lipase in duodenum. Fats digestion gets completed in duodenum with intestinal lipase. As a result of completion of the digestion of the fats, what are the end products which maybe gets formed? Means fatty acids and glycerol are formed as the end product due to the completion of the fats digestion. This is the fats digestion in small intestine. Next, nucleic acid digestion in small intestine. Finally, nucleic acid digestion in small intestine. This nucleic acid digestion